Good evening. Thanks for joining us. I'm Jason Vio, and this is CBC Windsor News. A recent house fire that led to attempted murder charges is also a case of intimate partner violence. That's according to a person close to one of the victims. The CBC's Dulcin Chen has that story.
A Windsor house fire that resulted in charges of arson and attempted murder was a case of intimate partner violence, according to a relative of one of the victims. Amy Lynn Harrison says her niece was the target of the fire, and the man facing charges is her niece's ex-boyfriend.
Toxic. It was toxic. It's pretty common. You don't hear about it, but it's pretty common. A lot of women are scared to come forward. Probably because they're scared of having situations like this.
We've agreed to not show Harrison's face because of her concerns for her personal safety. The fire that injured her niece happened in a West End home on September 1st. 4 people were hospitalized, including the accused man. He's facing 3 counts of attempted murder, as well as charges of arson, breaking and entering, and forcible confinement. Harrison says her niece broke off the relationship before the incident. Her niece was released from hospital earlier this week and is recovering. Harrison is speaking out now to raise awareness of intimate partner violence in the community, something she has also experienced in her life.
Anyone who's in an abusive relationship of any sort, mental, emotional, watch the signs. It's not okay. Talk. Talk to friends, talk to family. Make a safety net for yourself to get out.
All municipalities in Windsor, Essex have declared intimate partner violence an epidemic. Earlier this year, Windsor Police said IPV cases accounted for 37% of all violent crime in the city over a 1-month period. Sylvie Gunther, executive director of Hiatus House, says breakups are when there's the most danger of occurrence.
This is something we know about intimate partner violence, that women are at greater risk once they make a choice to leave the relationship. And once that aggressive partner, abusive partner recognizes that that relationship is ending, it is really a high crisis time.
Windsor's annual Take Back the Night rally, which advocates for women's safety, is set to take place September 18th. Dulcin Chen, CBC News, Windsor.
More than 10,000 college support workers from schools across the province walked off the job today, including right here in Windsor. The union that represents the workers says job security is a main concern and that the province has been cutting funding and jobs for months. We'll bring you more on what's happening locally in just a moment, but first, here's Greg Ross with the provincial picture.
There's nothing better than a picket line on a Thursday morning, am I right?
Thousands of college support workers hit the picket lines. The president of the Ontario Public Service Employees Union, which represents these workers, says contract negotiations with the College Employer Council came to a standstill on Wednesday afternoon.
This team did everything we could to reach a deal with the CEC, but yesterday afternoon at 4 p.m., they stopped negotiating, left the table, and never returned.
The union is calling on the province to provide more funding for college support workers and ensure better job security.
Without us, you cut the heart out of education, and that's what's been happening since the beginning of the year. We've lost 10,000 jobs across the system to date, and student opportunities grow more and more narrow as over 650 programs and counting are canceled in our college communities.
These support staff workers include librarian technicians and registrar employees. At Toronto's George Brown College, there are also early childhood educators who run 14 daycare facilities across the city.
Hi, baby.
On Wednesday night, Isabel Crew found out that the daycare her 14-month-old son Bruce goes to would be closing down because of the strike.
It's a lot of scrambling on our part. My husband and I have both made arrangements to work from home, to work late hours during the evening and while my son naps, and to do childcare during the day.
Crew and her husband are both lawyers with busy schedules, and they don't have another option for daycare.
Because daycare is so hard to find in the city, it's also not like we could just put him in another daycare. That's not an option. There are no spots available for that.
She says if it's a long strike, college support workers won't be the only ones who will be walking off the job.
I think realistically, if it drags on too long, I might have to take an unpaid leave from work to do childcare full time, which is not my preference, but it might be where we end up.
The union says for now, they are holding their ground.
We need to ask ourselves, do we want a college system where students are properly supported? A system that is adequately staffed and resourced?
Greg Ross, CBC News, Toronto.
And that college support staff strike includes picket lines at St. Clair College right here in Windsor. The CBC's Jennifer LaGrassa has more on how students are impacted.
These St. Clair College workers are just some of the thousands on strike across Ontario.
It's not just about fair wages, it's about job security.
About 200 full-time support workers, including those in tech support, registrar offices for admissions or financial help, are on the picket lines. That's after negotiations between the Ontario Public Service Employees Union and the College Employer Council stopped Wednesday. The contract expired September 1st. The union claims the government has removed funding from public colleges and transferred it to private schools instead. That's meant job losses.
Registrar's office, for example, we're about 20% down. We've canceled our services at our downtown campus, our Chatham campus, and that's your, again, registrar's office, so admission, your financial aid, your health services, your custodial services. I mean, anything that is supporting our students right now, that is what's, on the line right now.
The College Employer Council has said it can't meet the union's demands, especially when enrollments and revenues are significantly down. It says its proposed agreement added more than $145 million in wage and benefit improvements. For St. Clair students, the strike has led to minor disruptions so far, such as delays getting into campus or issues catching a bus, as some stops have moved.
We have to walk 20 minutes from course, so I'm having to leave courses early to get to my bus now, which is a little miserable.
Otherwise, St. Clair College says they're doing the best they can.
Things may be a little slower in certain departments because our team's not all there at full force. But again, we're going to try to make do that there's really no change to the student experience.
If students run into any issues, the school says they can book an appointment at the student center, including for their ID card. Meanwhile, workers say that while they want to be there for students, they're prepared to be on strike for as long as needed.
We obviously are optimistic and hopeful that, a fair contract can be reached that's favorable for both sides. But, we're here for the long run.
Workers at Lambton College and College Boreal are also on strike. Jennifer LaGrassa, CBC News, Windsor.
Khalil, another blue sky kind of day.
Beautiful. Maybe your beach volleyball, another adding to the reason why I should have continued to go on. We're going to see a lot of sunshine over the next little bit. There might be a little bit of a change come Saturday, but overall it's going to be nice and clear. So not expecting too much in terms of active weather over the next little bit. Just know it's going to be pretty cool overnight tonight. We're looking at a drop towards 12 degrees, but nice and clear across southwestern Ontario. And as we go towards tomorrow afternoon, Jason, just a beautiful sky, much like today, getting up to the 26-degree mark, and it should actually feel a little bit warmer than that. Perfect for beach volleyball.
All right, thanks so much, Khalil.
Okay, thank you.
Windsor police are investigating what they believe to be a suspicious death along the Detroit River. Emergency crews responded to the area of Riverside Drive East and Lincoln Road around 6 p.m. Wednesday night. The Windsor Police Major Crimes Unit is now investigating. A woman who was fishing at the time tells CBC News that she saw somebody along the shore. She checked on him, but said he appeared to be dead. The woman said she alerted a nearby person who had a cell phone to call 911. An autopsy has been ordered to determine the cause of death. A school bus strike that would have impacted 7,000 students in the region has been averted. The dispute involved 140 unionized bus drivers working for the company First Student. The union local representing the bus drivers reached a new tentative agreement with the company days before a lockout that was scheduled to take effect on Monday. Drivers will vote to ratify the agreement on Saturday. The buses take as many as 7,000 students to school each day, primarily in Windsor and LaSalle. The Canadian Medical Association is warning about the rise of medical misinformation. It says science is under attack online, and that's putting patients' lives at risk. Alison Northcott now with the concerns and possible countermeasures.
It is safe to say that we need to check other sources.
16-year-old Chloe Casito is a teen fact checker debunking health myths online.
To show other teenagers online that they are capable of determining whether a claim online is misinformation or if it's correct.
The Canadian Medical Association says false health information is causing serious harm to patients, in a statement warning misinformation is increasingly shaping public discourse, public beliefs, and policy actions.
This is a good example of influencers on TikTok pushing unproven ideas about sunscreen.
Timothy Caulfield, who studies misinformation around science and health, says experts need to speak out.
To stand in solidarity with entities around the world that are really struggling against regressive movements. And of course, the United States is the strongest example of that, but we're seeing it really everywhere.
The CMA points to examples of popular misinformation, including around vaccines, and underscores current evidence shows vaccines do not cause or increase the risk for autism. Dr. Joseph Daheen treats patients in the intensive care unit, but also takes time to talk about his work on social media because he's seen the harms of misinformation firsthand.
I've had a patient die from ignoring her symptoms and had metastatic breast cancer. And I had an elderly gentleman who was brainwashed at the time of COVID, thinking that this didn't exist, and actually died because he refused our care.
Kizito says countering false claims doesn't have to be complicated.
Sometimes all it takes is a Google search. Sometimes all it takes is using a fact-checking website.
The Canadian Medical Association says improving access to primary care would help too, so people can ask their doctor about their health instead of relying on the internet. Alison Northcott, CBC News, Montreal.
A special September 11th memorial event took place at Villanova Secondary School in LaSalle earlier today. LaSalle firefighters, along with school staff and students, climbed the same number of steps that first responders did at the World Trade Center on 9/11. Some of the firefighters and staff even wore full firefighter gear to better simulate that experience. CBC was there and spoke to some of the participants.
It's a very heavy day for the fire service, and fire services all across North America, they use this day as a memorial, as a way to honor the brave 343 firefighters who went into the World Trade Center buildings on September 11, 2001 and never came home. To honor those brave souls, fire services and other community members across North America will climb the same amount of stairs or flights of stairs that are in the World Trade Center. So today we'll be climbing 110 flights of stairs to honor those lives and the sacrifices that they made that day.
Ryan reached out to me in the summer with an idea of kind of reminding the kids about just the sacrifices that first responders made in 9/11 and the impact that it had on our global community. We felt that it was a great opportunity for community building, for creating awareness. It's now 24 years ago. The students weren't around yet when that happened, but we know that it's left a lasting memory, indelible memory on many of us. It's definitely increased kind of the appreciation, understanding we have of the sacrifices of first responders. We felt that not only is a great way to kind of memorialize those who have sacrificed their lives in helping others, but also bringing awareness to the role of first responders in our community and maybe inspiring some students to consider this as a career moving forward.
And if you looked in the sky above the Detroit River this morning, there's a good chance you saw a Goodyear blimp. The iconic airship was in town for the Automotive News Congress. Industry leaders discussed tariffs and the economy. Goodyear says automotive brass rode in that blimp right there. Then it drifted around, advertising the company, of course. One aviation historian says blimps, while more rare now, are a crowd pleaser. It's hard to say, though, exactly how many are still in use as they come and go based on ad campaigns. This year, the Goodyear blimp program turns 100 years old. And a live look outside where we don't see that blimp floating around in the sky. A very nice day. Khalil, will be back a little later in the show for a full look at your weather, but right after the break, we'll have more news for you. Stay with us. Prime Minister Mark Carney has unveiled a list of 5 major infrastructure projects to boost the Canadian economy in the face of a U.S. trade war.
We'll advance projects that turbocharge and connect our regional economies, as well as our economy to the world. Projects that diversify our products and markets. Projects that create hundreds of thousands of high-paying careers, good union careers for our workers.
The initial projects include expanding LNG production in BC, an Ontario nuclear reactor project, and upgrading the port in Montreal. Mining ventures in Saskatchewan and BC are also part of what the government is calling nation-building projects. Carney says the 5 big projects will generate more than $60 billion for Canada's economy. He says they will also create tens of thousands of high-paying jobs. Energy and infrastructure projects have been a key priority for Carney. Well, NATO members are on high alert following a Russian drone incursion into Polish airspace. Polish and NATO forces shot down some Russian drones on Wednesday, while others fell to the ground in eastern Poland. The UN Security Council will convene to discuss the issue on Friday. Chris Brown has the story.
So far, NATO's response to the Russian drone incursion into Poland has been almost exclusively with words, invoking Article 4, consulting, talking, condemning, and investigating precisely what happened. Donald Tusk, the Polish Prime Minister, visited some of the fighter pilots who shot down those drones and promised them, "You will not be alone as you protect Europe. We'll ensure our allies fulfill their commitments." But how exactly should NATO do that? Because the drones are just the latest Russian provocation, which has also included things such as jamming the GPS signals of commercial aircraft and committing sabotage in multiple European countries. Some analysts want to see a strengthening of frontline aircraft and air defenses. Italy's foreign minister called for more economic sanctions.
We stand in full solidarity with Polish people after the unacceptable violation of their airspace. We are and will remain fully engaged with Ukraine. The coalition of the willing has clearly reaffirmed our common goal and commitment to achieve a just and lasting peace in Ukraine and provide strong security guarantees to help preventing future attacks.
Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky says NATO and Ukraine should commit to work together to shoot down all Russian drones, no matter what country they fly over, something NATO has thus far opposed. The concern, though, is that Russia is going to keep pushing, keep probing, keep looking for weakness if there is not a response. All of this is happening on the eve of Zapad, Russia's major war games. In previous years, those games involved up to 200,000 troops doing drills in very strategically sensitive areas, including the Slovaky Gap, which is a bit of Poland between Belarus and Kaliningrad, and it's long been seen as a potential flashpoint for a future conflict between NATO and Russia. And so this event has always been watched carefully, because prior to Russia's invasion of Ukraine, there were also military exercises that ended up being a preamble for that attack. Chris Brown, CBC News, London.
The FBI has released photos of a person of interest in connection with the fatal shooting of Charlie Kirk. The U.S. conservative activist was shot while speaking at a university in Utah on Wednesday. We can show you the video leading up to that moment and the crowd panic after a single shot was fired.
Do you know how many mass shooters there have been in America over the last 10 years? Counting or not counting gang violence?
Police announced a $100,000 reward for information leading to the suspect's identification and arrest. Investigators say they recovered the high-powered rifle they believe was used in the deadly shooting. Charlie Kirk was a supporter and ally of Donald Trump. The 31-year-old activist was a high-profile conservative known for making provocative statements about gender, race, and politics. Coming up right after the break, Khalil joins us again for a more fulsome look at your weather forecast. Stay with us. Khalil joins us for a live look at weather. And Khalil, I don't want to say it's sort of a perfect weather day. Nothing is really perfect. Nobody is perfect, but It's pretty close, though.
Pretty close. I'm liking the blue sky that we experienced. Even the temperature getting up to the mid to, and feeling like it was in the upper 20s today. Just overall, a really nice day for the middle of September. So what are we looking at the moment? 24 degrees is the current temperature in Windsor, and that is the high spot in Ontario for the most part. If you go out west, you're going to experience a little bit warmer weather, let's say through Edmonton, Calgary, Saskatoon, still pretty nice. And then if you go to the east coast, a little bit cooler through the Maritimes. But overall, it was once again a great day today in Windsor. So 24 degrees as of 6 o'clock. It did get warmer than that earlier on in the day. And at 6 o'clock, we saw around 20 degrees in Sarnia and also in the mid-20s all around most of southwestern Ontario, all the way heading up towards the city of Toronto. So once again, it was a great day. So we got to 25. Where does that compare in terms of what we usually see? 23 degrees is our usual high for this time of the year. So we're a little bit warmer in terms of the daytime high, but if you look at the average temperature for the low, we're actually dropping below that. Look at our sunrise. We're coming up just before 7 o'clock or just after 7 o'clock in the morning, and then we are setting our sun just before 8 o'clock. So we're still getting just over 12 hours of sunlight each and every day, and we're going to experience a lot of sunlight over the next couple of days. So if we're looking at the radar, it looks pretty quiet as we're going through most of Friday, as we're going to be seeing not too much cloud cover. It's going to start to pop up as we go through the late parts of Friday and into Saturday morning. But if we are going to see any cloud cover come Saturday, it's not going to be bringing any rain. We really do have a very quiet radar for the next little bit. Overnight tonight, I mentioned 12 degrees is our overnight low, and we're going to be seeing a little bit cooler temperatures if you go towards Sarnia and also through London. And then we're going to be seeing tomorrow afternoon a real warm up, just like we saw today, 26 degrees as we are getting towards a high of 26, feeling a little bit warmer than that over the next little bit, though. Looking at the radar and the forecast for the next little while, Jason, it looks gorgeous. Saturday, if there is some cloud cover, it's going to be, let's substitute in some more hot weather, and then it's going to be even better come Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. Just a few clouds in the sky for each of those days, but overall just great sunshine and warm temperatures.
All right, thanks so much, Khalil.
No problem.
And that does it for us here at CBC. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you back here tomorrow night.